Not only did she break the NCAA scoring record in her final year of college, just weeks before going first overall in the WNBA draft, but she made the WNBA All-Star team and won the WNBA's Rookie of the Year in 2024. Her off-the-court accomplishments are arguably just as impressive. In April, she was only the 4th female athlete to make an SNL appearance, and just days later, signed a historic $28 million Nike deal that includes a signature show. Her time honor is but one on a lengthy list of accomplishments, and Clark is just getting started. However, Clark's ascent didn't come without controversy. Last summer, when asked about some of the racist and sexist vitriol that had been circulating in her name, she replied that the discourse was not something I can control. She went on to say, "I don't put too much thought and time into thinking about things like that, and to be honest, I don't see a lot of it. Basketball is my job. Everything on the outside, I can't control that, so I'm not going to spend time thinking about that." This didn't impress many in and around the league, including Connecticut Sun guard Dejanai Carrington, who later posted to social media, "How one cannot be bothered by their name being used to justify racism, bigotry, misogyny, xenophobia, homophobia, and the intersectionalities of them all is nuts. We all have a platform. We all have a voice, and they all hold weight. Silence is a luxury." But Clark's most recent, and arguably her most accomplished interview, hits different, as the kids say. Not only did Clark offer fans perhaps the most candid glimpse into her personality, but she took a hard stance against some of the discourse that has been surrounding her throughout her controversial rookie year. She also implored fans to honor the black women who made the WNBA what it is today, which she has also done in the past, paying homage to her basketball hero Maya Moore throughout her senior year, as well as many other notable black women from Dawn Staley to Lisa Leslie, whom she credited for laying the foundation for her career in her SNL segment in April. Vulcanino oven, high-quality Italian, handcrafted forni Magliano, one pizza built-in, oven with gas burning, the Indiana Fever. Delighted fans after sharing throwback photos of their players, including that of Caitlin Clark. As part of the celebrations for World Basketball Day, the Fever posted photos of Clark, Nalissa Smith, Grace Berger, Christy Wallace, and Erica Wheeler when they were younger. Sure enough, Clark's photo, which showed her playing basketball against boys, quickly captured attention and had fans buzzing. To be clear, Caitlin Clark has always, to some extent, understood the context of her being a white woman in a league that is primarily non-white. She is no Paige Buchers, but she knows the greats in the league and gives credit where it's due. But her indifference to the discourse surrounding her rubbed fans the wrong way this past summer. Her recent Time interview tells a different story, and it's one that the league needed to tell months ago. The WNBA is no place for hate. The problem with this stance for Caitlin Clark, which might explain her reluctance to embrace it, is that it inevitably involves taking a stand, and that level of off-the-court offense doesn't fit well with Clark's brand, even if it's a necessary line to draw. Clark spent years cultivating a squeaky clean image of a little Iowa girl who made it big. Her Gatorade ad, which was released during her senior year, hammers home this image with clips of her playing basketball in her youth, speaking to young girls, and of course, shattering records with an unforgettable motivational message to her young fans. If I can drop 40, you can drop 50. It's a great ad for many reasons, one being that it mirrors Nike's "If You Let Me Play" ad from 1995, which notably featured girls playing sports while touting the benefits of doing so. Clark's brand power is undeniable, but her clean persona also doesn't mesh well with activism. Even activism as basic as denouncing racism. The little Iowa girl inevitably had to butt heads with her fans, plenty of whom were watching women's basketball because of her. The brilliance of Clark's brand is also its greatest drawback. Clark is a chameleon. Yes, she's one of the best athletes of her generation, but she's also just like you and me. She loves Taylor Swift, appreciates a good bargain, and adores her friends like Lexie Hull and Kate Martin, who just so happen to be professional athletes like her. And of course, anyone can be as good as Clark if they just try hard enough. So her Gatorade ad says. In other words, because of her relatability, Clark can be whoever she needs to be for her fans. Her versatility is what makes her marketability as vast as it is, but it also rendered her fairly vulnerable as a rookie who is also, for better or worse, the face of the still-growing WNBA. We all witnessed that last season when, because Clark didn't embrace controversy, people thrust it onto her, and she let it happen by remaining neutral. It's more than understandable why Clark would do so after all. How many college graduates sign a $28 million shoe deal, appear on SNL, then play their first professional basketball game in the span of a month? Caitlin Clark has been through a lot in the past few years, good and bad, and that much is undeniable. But as Carrington pointed out, it's also a privilege to ignore the kind of vitriol that surrounds Clark, and it seems Clark has taken note. Her Time interview shows that she is capable of handling the discourse around her and raises the bar for her tolerance of it. In many ways, it shattered the innocent halo around her, showing Clark's petty, sassy, foul-mouthed sides. At times, she sounded like a young Diana Taurasi, giving a nod to her troll tendencies, her well-earned confidence that borders on cockiness, if she couldn't back up her talk, that is, and the cutthroat competitiveness that makes her great. The Time piece referenced the fact that the same little Iowa girl that stole America's hearts with her feel-good homegrown story arc also nearly led the WNBA in technical fouls in 2024. With 6 on the year, she tied for second along with Kalia Copper and notably Diana Taurasi. Importantly, it reminded readers that while she's not average, she's human, while also lauding her lengthy accomplishments. In short, Clark's most recent interview is also her most real, and it's more of what the WNBA needs from the face of the league. It also just might turn off her new fans who have used her as a canvas onto which they project their discriminatory values. And if that's the case, it's good for the league. What the WNBA needs in times of explosive growth isn't fair-weathered fans just looking to chase after the next shiny thing in women's hoops. The WNBA needs loyal, resilient, long-term fans who understand the context of the league. While it's great that Clark has brought more eyes to the WNBA, the quality of those eyes matters. There's nothing wrong with the fans who just started watching because of Clark, but ideally, those fans will also notice the greatness around her and wonder why they didn't start watching sooner. These same fans might recognize that the W is defined not only by physical play, airtight strategy, and yes, fierce player rivalries, but by the league's commitment to social justice, political involvement, and activism. The fans who acknowledge and appreciate that aspect of women's hoops are the ones the league needs most, especially the large portion of WNBA fans who are women, people of color, and LGBTQ. Their safety is directly threatened by the portion of Clark's fans, however large or small, who attack identities different from theirs. The WNBA isn't just a sports league. It's a community, and newcomers must respect it. Those who don't will have a tough time fitting in and might instead opt out. In this light, Caitlin Clark might have lost some fans with her latest words. But is that really a bad thing? If the bigots are truly a vocal minority, the WNBA really won't be down all that bad. And even if they're not, losing these fans is still good for the league, and even better for Clark, who deserves better loyalists, as well as the women around her, who make the W great. Watching Clark and her so-called rivals like Carrington, Torresi, and Angel Reese thrive in front of the league's biggest audience without all the background noise? That's a win everyone can look forward to in the 2025 season. The post-Caitlin Clark's Time interview is just what the WNBA needed appeared, first on awful announcing. The WNBA reached unprecedented heights last season, spurred in part by a rivalry that began in college and carried into the professional league. The league has mainly benefited from it. Caitlin playing in the boys' league, a commenter wrote, along with fire emojis. Another impressed fan said, "CC playing with the boys, nuff said." A commenter added, "The Caitlin pic is fire." It's not a surprise why Caitlin Clark's old photo is trending online. As fans would know, the Fever star has talked about the time she played in a boys' league in several instances in the past. "My dad was actually one of the coaches in the boys' league, and they wanted to make me MVP of the league," Clark said. And these parents were like, "We can't let a girl be the MVP of the boys' basketball league. I was just better than all of them." With that story, the photo of Clark during her youth while playing against boys has become even more interesting. Most recently, during an interview with People, Clark revealed that she was supposed to be the MVP of a boys' league she played in. However, some parents were against it. Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, two standout rookies, captivated fans with their fierce competitiveness, evoking comparisons to legendary basketball rivalries of the past. It started with a simple hand gesture, Reese's now iconic "You can't see me" taunt, popularized by WWE's John Cena, directed at Clark during the 2023 NCAA Women's Basketball Championship game, became a lightning rod for criticisms. LSU may have won that night, but that single act set the stage for a professional rivalry that fans eagerly anticipated. Magic Johnson did not miss the parallels between this rivalry and a historic NBA showdown. Reflecting on his decades-long competition with Larry Bird, he drew a fascinating connection to the WNBA pair. They dominated in college, and then they brought it over to the WNBA, just like we brought it to the NBA, Johnson said. "We changed the NBA. They changed the WNBA. And now everything that these young ladies have been fighting for, they're about to get. They end up getting private planes now. Now they're going to get more money in terms of salary because of the new collective bargaining agreement that the NBA and WNBA did together." Magic and Bird first crossed paths in the 1979 NCAA Men's Basketball Championship, a game that remains the most watched college basketball matchup to this day. Their on-court duel propelled both players into the NBA spotlight, transforming not just their respective teams, the Los Angeles Lakers and Boston Celtics, but the league as a whole. The WNBA rookies' transition from college to the WNBA holds a similar transformative promise. Just as the Lakers and Celtics legends made basketball must-watch entertainment in the 1980s, these two rookies brought unprecedented attention to women's basketball. The competitiveness between the Chicago Sky and Indiana Fever rookies sparked interest. Just as the NBA had a peak popularity starting from the 80s, similarly, the WNBA witnessed record-breaking growth during last season. The league reported its highest total attendance in 22 years. Even before the season tipped off, WNBA teams were selling out their season ticket packages, a first in league history. The Fever's game against the Washington Mystics on September 19th at Capital One Arena set a single-game attendance record of 2,711 fans. It's just amazing. They were able to go around arenas across the country and sell them out, and little girls are now dreaming about being like Caitlin, like Angel and others, Johnson said. This surge in popularity coincided with significant advancements for players. Thanks to a collective bargaining agreement between the NBA and WNBA, players now benefit from increased salaries and the luxury of private flights, a step toward equity long championed by women athletes. The rivalry of the two rookies, steeped in both athletic excellence and unapologetic charisma, is reshaping perceptions of women's basketball. Like two NBA Hall of Famers who redefined the NBA in their time, these young stars are steering the WNBA into a new era,